Hey everyone, and welcome back to Loaded Bolter. This is Rapid Fire, and I'm your host Wolvey. And today I've got a top bloke with me. It's Big Mike, as many of you will know him, or Tabletop Fignatics, as he is on the socials. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here.
Well, it's a wonderful Sunday afternoon here, with time differences all taken into account. So, as we always do on this, we're going to do the Rapid Fire Challenge first, which is where it's your opportunity to answer 15 questions as quickly as you can to see how high on our leaderboard you can get. And then we're going to talk about your life in the hobby and some of the other things about you, just to flesh out and let the community know who Big Mike is if they don't know you already.
All right, outstanding.
So without further ado, we'll get straight to the Rapid Fire Challenge. So if you give me a thumbs up when you're ready, I'll start the timer and get going on the first question. Cool. So, quick as you can. Your time starts now. How many years have you been in the hobby?
23.
What game systems do you follow?
40K, Sigmar, Kill Team, Warcry, and I still like to play Mordheim.
What are your current armies?
Necron's the only one at tournament standard.
What was your first ever miniature?
Chaos Terminator, Lord of Khorne.
What was your first full army?
Khorne Berserkers.
What model or unit have you enjoyed painting the most?
Magnus the Red.
What model or unit have you enjoyed painting the least?
Magnus the Red.
What was the last model you fully completed?
Imperial Knight Valiant.
How much hobby time do you get per week?
Average about 10 hours.
What is the current model you're working on?
Magnus the Red.
What is your single favorite thing about the hobby?
The community.
Your least favorite thing about the hobby?
Probably the community.
Who or what got you into the hobby?
Comic books. I wandered into a comic book shop and saw it on the table and was just like, this is for me.
What keeps you in the hobby?
The stream, the community.
And what is your one hobby target for the rest of 2021?
To get the Sisters of Battle tournament standard.
That's it. That's time done. So I know it's particularly Dan that you're looking to overthrow, but as we sit, the quickest time this has been done in is 1 minute and 11 seconds. You did it in 1 minute and 34 seconds, which puts you only 2 seconds behind Dan. But I think that puts you third, first, second,
right.
third, fourth. Sorry, which, you know, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Not bad. That's not bad. I'll take it.
So talk to me then about getting into the hobby. You said you walked into a comic book store, you saw it on the table, and it was just for you.
It spoke to me. It sung to my soul. It was a fantasy battle between dwarves and goblins, or greenskins at the time, and I was like, this is awesome. I painted models before. I knew the gist of the hobby side of things, and it was the start of a whole new outlook on life at that point.
So was it Sigmar that got you first?
Well,
or the old world?
Back then it was Warhammer Fantasy. I'm sorry, my alarm's going off.
That's all right.
I'm a type 1 diabetic. I wear an implant on my arm. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So it was the old world that got you before 40K then?
It was. That was in, my dad was in the Marine Corps. That was in North Carolina. About 3 months after that, we moved to Mississippi and nobody played fantasy. It was all 40K. And I found the local shop that was within walking distance of the house, and 40K kind of took over at that point, which I played both games. I got quite a few people in the fantasy, but 40K was always the forerunner.
That's cool. So these days, Your Instagram bio, for example, says charity work brought me here, and there is still so much more to do. Now, one of the things that brought me to you, obviously asking you to come on here and do this, was the aforementioned Dan. He basically said, look, you've got to get this guy on. You've got to see the sorts of stuff that he does. And I was like, okay. And he told me about the charity stuff you do. So please, tell me more about that, because that is different and intriguing.
Last year in January, my wife was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. And with the COVID crisis, we couldn't do a traditional cancer benefit for her. The local shop had just opened up that October, and I've always, since they opened the door, I've been here every week, playing Magic or getting the Warhammer set up and pushing for it in the shop, and it's doing really well. But I got with the local owner, and I was like, yeah, I'm not too swift on it, but I want to do like a live stream type cancer benefit for my old lady. You think y'all could help me out with that? I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it took about 2-3 months to plan. We kicked it off in July, and it was a smash. I mean, I ran for 26 hours straight. We painted up a Tau battle force, about 900 points, auctioned it off. Altogether, 26 hours, we raised $6,700.
Wow.
A large portion of that, we ended up doing, we had the stream going for Leanne, and then there was a young kid that was fighting cancer when we started the stream, and he ended up losing his fight with cancer in the night. And we donated a large portion to his fund that they did a Magic tournament at the same time. So it was kind of like a 2-for-1 special. And we ended up clearing $6,700 that night. And every quarter, well, every time the shop would stream, people would come back looking for Big Mike and charity work. And finally, after about a month of that, the owner, Kyle Huck, he was just like, look, you got to come back and do some more of this. It's just people are asking for it. They really want to see you do it. So we set up a weekly schedule, setting up, everything I do during the week is setting up for or finishing the last big event or setting up for the new one. It all depends. We've done 4 big events. We've raised $13,000 total. In July will be our next one.
That's absolutely incredible. When Dan told me about this, and I was like, I've never heard of anything like this in the hobby before. And it comes through a variety of things. So you do, I think you've done some giveaways. You've also raffle as well. How does the raffle work?
Well, I run everything through our Discord server, which to get access to it, all you got to do is hop on the stream and do the Discord command. It's !Discord, and it comes right up. And through there, you can see what's being raffled. I have a dedicated thread for it. There's pictures, comments, whips, all that, and then and a thread will also take you to, my PayPal account. And every $5 increment is a ticket to get your name on the list. I do a random generator on the phone, have everything underneath the camera. Everybody can see how many times they've been entered, and I hit the draw button. It's one of the smoothest ways. At first, we were doing auctions, and that turned into be a headache real fast.
Auctions work really well if you've got everybody in the same room at the same time. It doesn't really work so well if you're trying to this person bet now. I can imagine it being quite tricky to run. Like
Magnus. When Magnus is ready, should only be a week or 2 before he's all done. The glazing is giving me issues, but
he's
about a month.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
He is a big, beautiful monster. I'll tell you that. But
and I've got to say, obviously, your painting is just awesome, absolutely incredible.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me.
And I think, to be fair, with what you're doing it all for, I think people would buy it even if you were the world's worst painter. But the fact that you're a good painter also kind of helps to shift those models, I imagine.
That is awesome. I actually won my first painting contest this spring.
Oh, really? Okay. And what did you win that with?
With the Night Valiant. That was
Okay.
raffled off in the last big show. And that was awesome. I was starting off, I was such a horrible painter. I could paint a model plane like nobody's business, but when it came to these little figures, I was horrible in the beginning. It took a while. It took a long while.
I think that's the same for all of us hobbyists. I think, if we had have all kept our first models, you'd see your own progress. But I like most haven't kept my first model. So I've seen, obviously you've supported this young lad. You've done bits and pieces for your wife as well. I've also seen, you've done work for veterans as well?
Yeah, well, our last event was for veterans suicide prevention and awareness, and we did really well with that one. We did 1,400 just on the show, and then the proceeds from the raffle for Magnus will go get stacked on top of that when in July.
Because with veterans, and I think it's the United States and UK together, I'm sure it's that they bandy together, isn't it? Every 22, is it 22 seconds or 22 minutes?
Every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That veteran takes his life.
And I'm sure, because one of the things that I actually have tutored at work, I've tutored about suicide and self-harm, and the statistic was for the UK and US together. But that's a high amount.
I think in the US itself, I want to say it's actually, no, I was wrong. I said minutes. I think it's every 20 seconds. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it's slightly higher in the US than it is in the UK. I think it's 17 in the US.
In the UK, I think they're getting a little better with the support, but it's not perfect. It's far off where it needs to be. And I imagine it's very much the same in the United States, where you've got the same problem that we've got, that homeless veterans that turn to different ways of managing things, and that sets off a series of events that can't be undone. It's
absolutely. And as a veteran myself, it was just as close to my heart as it was doing the benefit for my wife. It was it meant a lot to me. I was very proud to be able to do something like that for my people, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I would never necessarily understand, again, not being a military person. So I'm a prison officer, so I get the camaraderie and stuff like that. But you guys, have dealt with things far worse than I could ever envision. And
correctional officers are unsung heroes. There's a lot of respect for what you do. I gotta give it to you.
I appreciate that. So they probably wouldn't be happy if I mentioned that on here, but that's by the by. But yeah, so you go through situations with people, and it bonds you in a way that you can't imagine. So I can absolutely get a little insight into how veteranship works. So we've covered. So we've got, obviously, your wife's treatment. How is your wife doing? Actually, that's the big question. How's she going at the moment?
Not too good. We actually, after her surgery in August, she was declared cancer free, and they ended up stopping her chemo treatment early because they found spots on both lungs and in her liver. So she's got to have more testing done. It could be nothing. At this point, we're just waiting.
Okay, well, obviously we've got fingers crossed there. So is there any other charities? So obviously you've got the veterans, you've got cancer charities. Is there any more that you've done? Those are the main two.
We assisted Louis with the Nameless Guild. He did a drive for a young child in Nepal, in Kathmandu, whose name was Depesh. he caught COVID at 7 months old, went to hospital, was released. And like 3 days later, they had to take him back to the hospital because he had fluid sacs in his lungs that needed to be operated on. And he raised money for that young man's surgery. And that was our first raffle. And we did close to 500 pounds, I think it was, on this side. And I think they did 1,200 pounds on their side. It was a very good day. It was a very good day, very good cause.
It's also, I don't find myself in a position like this very often, but I feel kind of really humbled and somewhat inspired by all of these things that you are doing. What have been some of your favorite model? Obviously you've mentioned about Magnus the Red, but what have been some of your favorite models that you've been able to raffle off and raise money with?
Well, I had a lot of fun with the Knights. It was great. It was that whole event in November was something special for me. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes like 3 weeks before that happened. I was barely able to see when I started that event. My A1C was 13.9 and I was almost blind. I had to wear these big honking glasses. But and it was also the first stream we did, first live 24-hour live stream we did from the house in the underworld. We did, I think I went 30 hours on that stream all the way through. And it was great. Had really good people with me. We had Brent, the bearded brush licker from IG with us. We had Runefather, who helped found the Tabletop Fignatics with me here at the shop. And it was just a good experience. We did the Night Valiant. We did 2 Halverns to go with it. It was about 800 points, I think it was. It was pretty awesome. And Dan, let me tell you a little bit about Dan. Dan won both the raffles that day. And he passed on both of them. He gave both of them away.
I mean, then that also says something about him as well, doesn't it? Like, he basically said that, if I didn't get you on, I was some kind of asshole. It's basically, because the stuff that you're doing is that important, and obviously it links into the hobby so well that this is very different to any of the other conversations that I've had. But like I say, it says something for the both of you. And now that I know what you're doing, and the guys from our group know what you're doing, next time you're doing one of your events, you can bet our names will be popping up, in your Discord and on your Twitch streams, kind of saying hi and offering encouragement. Do you have a date set for your next one?
It's going to be the last Saturday in July.
Literally, I'm going to write this down because
I believe it's the 31st. That is going to be, it'll also be our anniversary stream. The first one I think was on the 18th of July. I don't know what my problem is this morning. I can't seem to keep the coughs in.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm good. Just try not to cough in front of you.
That's okay. I can't catch anything from you at this distance. We're several thousand miles apart. So looking away from obviously the charity work and the hobby, what are some of your hobbies away from this then? What else keeps you sane apart from painting little men and raising money?
I'm an avid outdoorsman. I love to hike and fish, kayak, hunt. It's one of my favorite. That's my favorite thing. It's kind of like an extreme on one side. On one side, I've got a hobby that keeps me indoors in a dark room with a big light over me. And on the other side, I'm outside in the weather, and it doesn't matter what time of year it is. If it could be a foot of snow on the ground, and I love going for a hike. But
have you got good scenery kind of around you that you're able to do good walks and hikes and stuff?
Here in southeastern Ohio, it's a sportsman's paradise. We've got lakes, rivers, We've got this huge, vast amount of land that was donated to the state from one of the coal companies. It's like 28,000 acres or something like this, massive, and it's all open to the public for hunting, fishing, and hiking.
That's awesome. I wouldn't know necessarily what hiking is like. I live in an area of the United Kingdom, which is about, well, less than 100 miles north of London, and it is flatter than a witch's tit. It is literally, there isn't a hill around for miles and miles and miles, but there's some good areas. So, you know, it's good that you enjoy being outside as much as you do. So of all of the things that you paint, what are the things you paint for you then? What are the models that you said you've got, like a full Necron army and you're working on your Sisters of Battle?
I started the Sisters initially for Mama Fox, for Leanne, and she wanted to change gears. I think she's more interested in the town right now, and at that point, I think it's something for us to do together, so we can spend more time together during the week. But the Sisters, I'd have to say they were probably one of my favorite armies early on in the hobby. Nobody ever really played them. The second and third edition models looked really good for the line back then. And now with the new figures coming out, they look so awesome. There's a big gap in my hobby time, probably 12 years, and coming back into it, models are just so much better than they used to be. It's got me wrapped up worse than it was before.
Yeah, I'm painting like some like old Eldar at the moment, so I'm definitely appreciating some of the newer sculpts that exist, because some of the older ones, you know, the details it's just not the same. And you know, Sisters of Battle was my favorite, was my first army and the first models I ever owned, and I've always loved their sculpts, and their new plastics really did them amazing justice. And you know, the new tank that's just been previewed looks awesome. It's like a Sisters of Battle Predator. This thing, just if you've not seen it yet, I mean, whoa, it's beautiful. Not so sure on the baby carrier situation that was previewed a couple of months ago, but the rest of the stuff has been
dreadnought.
Yeah, like I said, but the rest of the stuff has just been absolutely insane. So you obviously, coming back to the hobby, you've achieved like so much stuff, clearly, you know, with all of the painting. You're getting to paint bits of everything. I think one of the things that is great about what you're doing is you're not just painting one army or you've got a raffle coming up. What can I give away that's going to be, you know, awesome and different? Magnus the Red, Knights, you know, these bigger projects. What other ones have you got planned? What are the next models you're thinking that you want to do?
There's also, well, with Magnus, it's going to be two separate raffles, but with Magnus, we've got a 6 or 7 man Thousand Suns kill team in the works. We've got, I'm probably going to end up doing Mortorion sometime this year. I'm not sure when.
I fully support that as a Death Guard player. I love Mortarion, so he's big and huge. So I'd love to see what you can do with him.
He absolutely terrifies me on the table.
He terrifies most now.
Especially as a Necron player, there is nothing that I can put on the table that is worth its amount of points that's going to handle him.
The Nightbringer. You've got Necrons. Bring on the Nightbringer. He'll do some damage.
I'm sorry, I lost audio there for a second. I had a call come in.
That's all right. Let's bring Nightbringer. He can do some bits.
Nightbringer either shines like a supernova, or he just doesn't even come close. It all depends on how the opponent reacts to him.
Well, last time I faced a Nightbringer, they made a Demon Prince and a Land Raider just disappear. He just clicked his fingers like Thanos, and they just disappeared. It was phenomenal.
The last time I played him, I wiped out the entire Yanari Tribunal in one turn with him. That was great.
So if you can stay far enough away from him, you could possibly do all right. But it's just staying far enough away from him that's the issue. So what are some of your goals then over the next 12 months? You've got this next event on the last Saturday in July. What are some of the other things that you're looking now to achieve in the next year, knowing what you've achieved coming up to your anniversary show?
Well, at the new year, I said, we're going to do at least as well this year as we did last year. We did 2 events in 2020. We should do 4 to 6 events in 2021, and we're on par for that. With that first event, it was such a heartfelt and such a well done event. It's going to be hard to top that on a single level. But I think we're on par for beating last year's charity goal. A few things that we've done this year. We've actually registered Tabletop Fignatics in the state of Ohio as a not-for-profit charity, and that was one of my goals, was to legitimize the channel as a business, as a charity, and that was the easy part. Now, doing it on the federal level is going to be different. I don't know if that'll be worth my time at all, to be honest with you, being such a small charity. But with that done and getting the charities running and staying on top of them, I think we should crush that goal by the end of the year.
And I'm hoping if this in any way can expand the audience of people who come over and see the things that you're doing, then that's a small way in which I feel we've been able to contribute. But like I say, certainly look out for our names when that stream comes through on the that last Saturday in July, because we'll be right there. So I mean, this for me has been, like I say, it's been one of the more, if not the most, kind of, I suppose, not outwardly, but certainly inwardly, like emotional shows that I've done so far. And like I say, absolutely phenomenal. I feel that, you don't need us to tell you what a fucking inspiration you are, and how proud and awesome that it is that you are doing these things. Not, yes, it might have started off with, Mama Fox, as you call her, but you've reached out and helped, various other people and various other charities as well. So, like I say, anything that this channel or any others, people who are watching can do, then that's all the better.
It's the community at large. I mean, everybody has been so supportive and so, upright since the first charity event. And I sit back on Instagram now and I see, people doing their own charity work and doing their own charity events, and it's almost like sitting back as a proud papa watching everybody else, explore the things that you've been doing, and I love it. I love watching it. I try to help and participate with them as they come up. One weekend, I think there was 4 charity events going on at one time. I couldn't participate in all of them, but it was a good weekend. There was a lot of good work done.
That's an awesome, because that's another way in which you can get, I suppose, payback for those things. Like, because I say you're watching other people, whether they've taken it directly from you or not, they're doing the same things as you and stuff, and that in itself is awesome. So I'm going to put the information below. I'll be there for the people watching this. Will be all of the stuff for your Twitch, your Discord as well. Let's get as many people over there as we can. I myself have put my name over there now.
I almost forgot to mention, July will also be a painting contest. It's a Space Marine challenge.
Okay.
It's open to anybody who wants to post pictures. It doesn't have to be a Space Marine, any basic troop from any Games Workshop line. And just throw them in the channel, and we'll judge on them during the live stream.
Well, I think I've got a Space Marine that's in here that I've not painted before, in years. I think they've got one in there, so I'm in. I'm in. I don't have many Space Marines left, but I'll definitely I'll paint him up for it. So you know, all that's left for me to say is, on behalf of like the community, dude, thank you. Like, thank you for coming on here and talking to us about it. And like I say, if this, you know, gets more and more people over to what you're doing, then that's just beneficial for everybody, and hopefully beneficial for you as well. You know, it's great to see that you're hitting and surpassing targets that you've set. And I just really want to thank you for sharing with us.
No, that's not a problem. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
And hopefully we can do another episode of something. It might not be like just like this, but where we can update again in another, you know, 12 months or so, and see, you know, how much you're smashing again, and whether or not, you know, taking on the federal was worth your time for the little charity. Get a little win for the little guy. But
no, we're going to give it a run. We're going to give it a run.
It's always worth giving it a go, just to see, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Well, dude, thank you very much again. And if you want to support Big Mike and some of the things that he's doing, his details are all down there. Oh, sorry, all down there. And yeah, just go over, have a little look. And that last Saturday in July, you know, look out for the stream. And if you've got a Space Marine model sitting around somewhere that you need painting up for a competition, follow Big Mike on Instagram and some of the other socials that he's got, and you'll get the details soon enough.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, man. Cheers.